All right, let's finish these up. Let's look at some of the transactions for notes. On February 1st, 2016, the corporation accepted a 60-day, 12%, $7,000 note from J. Smith. Okay, so on February 1st, 2016, what happened? We have a note. No interest happened yet. Nothing happened. Just a note. So, if that was the case, debit our notes receivable, right? It's a receivable, so it's an asset. Credit cash, because it's for money in this case, $7,000. All right, so that's it. Don't worry about the interest or any of that kind of stuff right from the beginning. But let's calculate the interest, because now what happens? That was February 1st. Now on April 1st, 60 days later. I don't know if that's exactly 60 days, but we'll go with it. We're going to calculate the interest. Interest is principal times interest times time, right? So $7,000 principal, interest rate is 12%, which is a really, really high interest rate, but we'll go with it. And time is 60 days. Remember, that's a portion of years, so 60 over 365. So the interest is calculated at 138. The maturity value is going to be the $7,000 you owe plus, or no, they owe us rather, plus the interest. So it's just $71.38. Okay, so the full amount of money I'm expecting to get in the mail is $71.38. So what we record is we're going to debit our cash for $71.38 because that's what we expect to get, or we should get. We credit our receivables for $7,000. That was what was owed to us. And that last piece, that $138 of interest, is interest revenue, okay, which falls into that kind of other income category on the income statement. All right, so we're going to try this, and here's your solution. Hopefully you got it. All right, so let's mix it up a little bit. Now we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to cross over a year end, which we don't do all that often because it's more important you understand the concepts, but you also have to understand that most of these things cross over year end, right? Nobody cares about it being year end in the sense of like making it easier for the accountants. So very often these things cross over year end, and that's what this is, and it's gets a little complicated. All right, so it's December 18th. We sold goods to Dixie Corporation, receiving a 90-day, 9% note for $8,000. Okay, so they owe us, but it's for goods. Right, we sold something to them. They're going to pay us They're going to pay us in 90 days with interest. So we're going to record the sales part of the entry on December 18th. We've got a note receivable, a debit to notes receivable, and a credit to sales revenue. It tells us to ignore the cost of goods sold inventory part. Okay, so let's look at this on a timeline. I thought it was a little bit easier for you to see if I put it on a timeline. So December 18th is the date of the note, and we're going to pay, or we're expecting to get paid by March 18th, which is 90 days later. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the interest into two pieces, because remember the matching concept and not even really that, the accrual concept overall, in the sense of that you have to make sure the revenues and expenses fall into the appropriate periods. So in this case, if it's interest revenue, you earn some in 2015 and you earn some in 2016. Remember, we don't care about when the cash is received. We care about when the revenue was earned or when the income was earned. And on the flip side, when the expenses accrued, but we'll get there when we talk about payables. All right, so let's calculate that interest on December 31st. Okay, your interest is $8,000, your interest rate is 9%, but the time period is not 90 days. It's from the 18th to the 31st. So you're really looking at only this period here of 13 days. Okay, so you're going to calculate that interest revenue. You earned revenue for that little period there of 13 days, you earned $26. So you are going to credit our interest revenue, 26, did I say that right? You're going to credit interest revenue for that $26. But they're not paying you $26. They're going to pay you in 90 days. They're going to pay you in March. So what you do is you actually record a receivable for that $26. You've got a debit to interest receivable. Okay? The whole point here, though, is to make sure that 13 days of revenue gets captured in the right period. Okay, so now the maturity value of the note. Now it's March, right? The year has passed. A year end has happened. We're all good. It's March. Let's calculate what the maturity value of the note is. The interest, right? Calculate 90 days, the full amount of interest. The maturity value is the $8,000 principal plus the full amount of interest. So you fully expect to get paid $81.78. So that should be the cash that I receive. Cash $81.78. You're going to take the receivable off the books for $8,000, but you're not going to credit interest revenue for $178, because you earned some in 2015 and some in 2016. 2015 has already been recorded. We need to record the 2016 piece. So that interest revenue, how do we calculate the 2016 piece? You're going to calculate the $8,000 of interest times 9% times the 2016 days. We are going to look at the 2016 period, and that is 77 days. This, right? That is the revenue, because revenue can't be recorded twice. You already recorded 13 days of it, now you need to record the other 77. So we are going to say 77 over 365. And that winds up being $152. So we're going to record interest revenue of $152. Well, now what? I don't balance, right? I've got $152, $81.52, and $81.78. That $26, oops, too far, is the interest receivable. Remember I set it up in 2015 on December 31st that I was owed $26, and now it's being paid to me, so I'm going to reduce the receivable for that $26. So that this is 2016 interest, and that 2015 interest, right? 2016 I've earned now, so it's revenue of the period. The 2015 was from the previous period that was owed to me. Okay, so like I said, crosses over your end, gets a little bit hairy. And that's it.